Life is hard, but it could be worse. Life
You said you were ready. I used my Jean-Luc Picard voice to say I am ready.
Life is hard.
Oh, that's your Jean-Luc Picard voice?
Yeah, I suck at Jean-Luc Picard.
In a world with YouTube, this is the Life is Hard podcast. Take 3 of this episode.
Yes, this is our 3rd attempt.
Oh, man. This has been a travesty.
People are going to get the idea that it's rehearsed if we say it's our 3rd attempt. Just forget that. Forget we said that.
Oh, it's definitely not rehearsed. That's why we're on attempt. If it were rehearsed, we would have one take and be done. We are not that good.
I hate to tell you this, but I found another podcast.
Oh. You mean there's one besides ours?
Well, yeah, I was listening to Sex Nerd Sandra from sexnerdsandra.com. She's so much fun. I'm going to go do her. I'm going to do...
I bet.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet
well,
you
she
are.
broke up with her co-host, so there's an opening there.
Is her co-host a male or a female?
It was a male.
Oh, very interesting.
His name John Ross, I think. He's a comedian.
I know who you're talking about. He's the guy that's on the Comedy Central roasts all the time.
Yeah, he might be. Anyway, he was funny. He was great. I don't think I can fill his shoes. But
I don't think you're trying to fill his shoes.
Well, I'm not going to go there.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
What's been going on in your life?
Well,
Really?
Yes. It's
amazing.
Interesting and amazing, yes.
I wonder if I can quote you on that.
This isn't exactly a podcast, but I watched John Oliver, the excerpt of John Oliver
great.
that they put on YouTube.
Last week tonight?
Yes. And did you know, which you probably did.
He has his own Wayback Machine.
Yes. Does he? Mm-hmm. He stole the Wayback Machine.
How do you think
us?
they do a show like Last Week Tonight?
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying he stole the whole...
Oh, no, we have our own
crap.
special wave. What?
Now we're back at the beginning of the episode.
We're starting for the 4th time?
Oh. Okay, now we're back.
Okay, well, that was good.
This week he talked about pennies.
Pennies?
Pennies that hardly anybody uses, and they had examples, scientific studies about how 2/3 of pennies aren't in circulation or whatever. But the thing that got me, and this is just typical of us as a culture and us in this country.
Oh, I thought you were talking about you and I.
No.
Like ever and right.
You know, how people are all up in arms about, Bernie Sanders wanting to give away free stuff and somebody's got to pay for that or whatever. We spend, I'm going to screw up the numbers, but we spend something like $1.37 million a year to make, it's $137 million a year to make $80 million worth of pennies.
Oh, well, yeah, sure, because they're actually worth more in copper than they are.
Because the process it takes, the process it takes to mint them,
and then they got to haul them,
costs
to distribute
more
them.
than 1 penny per penny.
Sure. And what does it cost to ship a penny from the East Coast to the West Coast? I mean, they're distributing these things to banks all over the country.
Right.
So,
I have no idea. All that might have been considered in the statistics. I don't know. Yeah. But the point is that
pennies are expensive.
There are people that throw pennies in the garbage.
Yeah, well, and in fountains and everything else, yeah.
Yeah, well, fountains, at least, there's a semi-purpose. But anyway.
Well, and some poor guy cleans them out and takes them and buys
takes all the
lunch.
pennies, yeah.
I'm thinking now that I'm going to sell my pennies back to the government for more than what their face value is.
I don't think they'd buy them for that much.
They're worth more. They have to spend more money to make them than it so I'm going to be like, look, I want 2 cents on the penny.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, well, it's not quite a 2 cents deal. It's like 1 1/3 cents per penny, but still, you could sell them back for 1 1/4 pennies per penny.
Yeah, it's 25%. That's better than I'm doing on my savings account.
Right. Well, I'm thinking, now that I know that there's people out there that throw pennies in the trash, and if you're one of those people, and you're listening, or if you know these people, I want all these people to send me their pennies. Because you're just going to throw them away anyway.
I've got an even better idea. Let's start a
Send them to me.
GoFundMe. Let's start a GoFundMe.
Oh, yeah.
Where we will create a project where people will actually pay us to collect people's pennies in order to save the government from, wasting
Having
money.
to remint them.
Yeah.
Like a penny recycling.
Right, and we'll set up a special penny recycling center where people can bring their pennies in, and we will accept them for free, and we'll have GoFundMe people help pay us to support the project.
But that would never work, right?
Why?
Well, because people throw pennies in the trash all day, but if you ask them to put their pennies in a big machine, they're going to expect nickels and dollars and stuff back.
That's part of the project.
People are just that way.
That's what we're going to have the GoFundMe people pay for, is the hypnosis and whatever we need to do in order to get people to give us some money. And maybe we can get nickels out of this too, all right. I mean, why stop at pennies?
The Office Space, you've seen Office Space, right? They had the brilliant idea of just taking the fractions of pennies that were rounded off in the accounts and shuffling them all in one account. I thought that was awesome. I wanted to do that. I still want to do that.
I think someone did that in real life. I think that movie was based on something.
It may very well have happened.
But they only got away with it once.
Right. Well, my point is, if they're shaving them off, who gives a crap? That's the whole thing with the pennies for me. If people are going to throw them away anyway, just give them to me. You're going to throw them away.
Yeah. There's another whole. I mean, when you're shaving off the fractions, it averages out. When you round something off, in theory, if you round off enough numbers, you round up and you round down, and you eventually,
If they were rounding up and down, the theory I think in Office Space was that they always rounded down.
Yeah.
And so there's those extra. Yeah, exactly. It would be 0.00. And then it didn't matter the numbers that came after that. They always stopped at 0.00, even if the number after that was a 5 or higher.
Or a 9.
A 9, yeah.
But I don't think that's how it actually works.
It may not.
Yeah.
But now we've gotten
It's a great
way
story,
off the
though.
subject.
Yeah,
Of this.
oh gosh, well.
I think we need something new, something inventive.
Oh, the cosmology report!
The cosmology report.
That was an incoming UFO, by the way.
From outer space.
This is a dark matter. Yeah, hopefully you guys know what dark matter is.
This is a dark matter?
Yeah, it's a dark matter.
Okay, prepare to be depressed and serious.
Okay, I have to give you the really, really short version of what dark matter is. Dark matter is everywhere.
Matter.
Dark matter and dark energy are everywhere. We can't see them. We have no way of detecting them.
What is them?
Dark matter and dark energy.
Okay.
It's just out there. And yes, it requires some, a leap of faith to even... But science has convinced themselves that we have something in the universe we can't see and observe, because if we didn't, then the universe wouldn't be functioning the way it is.
So it holds the universe together.
Kind of. Well, actually, no, it's causing the universe to expand. But... yeah, it's because it doesn't do gravity, dark matter. Anyway, it's weird, okay? You have to be a cosmologist. I am not
like the
Carl
people
Sagan, okay?
The people that do makeup?
Exactly. So, but here's what the people that model...
You look more like a Neil deGrasse Tyson to me. You have the mustache.
He's like way bigger than I am, though. He's like this big bruiser.
He's a little bit darker than you two.
A little bit,
But that's a dark matter.
Exactly. Funny. So anyway, they've modeled this stuff that we can't see and can't measure and can't observe. They've modeled its behavior, and they've determined that it would be going through our planet like strands of hair. And so our planet, if you could see this stuff, would be hairy.
It has ingrown hairs. You said
well, yeah, they go all the way
planet.
through, right? Yeah. But I mean, your hair comes out of... Anyway, the thing is that this makes it a cosm...
So the Earth is just a hairy ball.
Exactly, and one of many hairy balls
in the universe.
Well, in the solar system, even.
Yes,
we got
the solar system
everywhere.
has hairy balls.
Well, they had the model in the so I was thinking
somebody modeled the hairy balls.
We could develop a cosmic comb.
Yes,
and then the whole cosmology report would become the cosmetic report.
Cosmetology report.
Cosmetology report. And now you must comb your dark matter hairs.
We could give the Earth a goatee.
Yeah.
Or a Hitler mustache.
Well, what's cool is they said if they could ever actually observe the things,
or
they could...
a handlebar mustache.
That would be interesting. Yeah, that might send a message to passerbys, like
mutton chops. The Earth could have mutton chops.
couldn't you just see when aliens are coming in and they saw our dark matter hairs and they were like particularly groomed, they'd be like, oh, that is so 70s. We're not stopping there, man.
Right. Those people are still in the dark ages. The dark matter ages.
So I'm always reading the news, right? Well, we still... Oh, man. There's two things I want to bring up from the news. I don't know if we have time for all this. One is the driverless car that got pulled over. Because the Google car, gets pulled over by a cop, gets a ticket for going like 24 and 35 mile an hour zone or something.
A Google car without a driver.
Yes, it was a driverless car. The cop pulls over, which is just like the whole picture in my mind is just crazy. Like, here's this car driving along, completely driverless, this autonomous car, and the cop pulls up behind it, I assume, and turns his lights on, and the car pulls over, and the cop walks up to the car and says, "Do you know how fast you were going?" And
no one answers.
And he says, "Could you turn down your radio?" And anyway.
Get out of the car or I'll shoot.
Yeah, I mean, how does that work? And then who does he write the ticket to? Like, does he just put it on the dash and say, "You need to pay that sometime"? Or, I mean...
Have a nice day.
Yeah, so anyway, it turned out the ticket was bogus. The car didn't get a ticket. Because if it did, Google would lose its spotless driving record. So
the Google attorneys made sure.
Yeah, actually, I think...
didn't stick.
I don't think it was that.
I don't how do you get pulled over for going 24 and a 35 anyway? That's some bullshit. It's bad enough they pull you over for going 44 and a 35. If I'm going 24 and a 35, leave me the hell alone. I'm doing under
Maybe
the
they
speed
thought
limit.
the car was drunk. I wonder if they made it do a breathalyzer.
That could be.
Yeah, because that's what happens if you're
they
drunk.
Have to open the hood and stick a tube in there.
Yeah, if you're one of those
cough.
If you're one of those overcautious drunk drivers, you drive really slow.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably what he thought.
It's exactly. The Google car, incidentally, looks like an inflated mouse.
Yes.
I wonder if they did that on purpose. Not an animal mouse, a computer mouse.
Yeah.
Because it's Google.
But the hood would be the button, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Right click on the hood. Left click on the hood.
So in other news...
But dude, that car has a badass scroll bar.
Yeah.
Scroll wheel. Check out the scroll wheel, man. That looks like a muscle car.
Actually, you got to give Google credit for that driverless car thing. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, they're not the only ones, though. We looked up, Ford is doing it, and they built an entire city to test theirs that houses absolutely no one. Thanks, Ford.
Yeah. So much for the homeless people. They probably run the homeless people out. They're like, no, this town has no people. We can't have you here.
Right. They've got fully functional houses in their little fictional city, but nobody's allowed to live there.
Yeah. Well, it's not a bad idea, though. If you're Ford and you're testing a driverless car, you probably need a city where there's nobody in it because
you're Ford.
Anything could happen. Yeah, it could be ugly. But yeah, in other news, though. Yeah, exactly. So I'm reading about the thing in Minneapolis where the Black Lives Matter people are protesting, and the person that they're protesting over, their family, is saying we don't want these protesters to continue this because of imminent concern, which I have no idea what that means.
Quick backstory.
Yes.
Let's
going
way
back in time now?
We'll come back to imminent concern. Hold on. Just so people know what we're talking about. But as in every situation, or too many situations lately, a white police officer shot and killed a black teen. Shot him, 16 times in 15 seconds or
That was
something.
in Chicago. That was a separate
However,
it doesn't really matter because they were just saying that they didn't. The family of in the case of the one that got shot in northern Minneapolis,
it's still a cop shot a person.
Yeah, although it wasn't as clear cut. The one in Minneapolis was the guy. The guy, I think, was accused of domestic abuse or something, and he was interfering with the paramedics trying to treat the person that he had allegedly assaulted. And the cops were trying to keep him away,
Gotcha.
and there was a tussle, and they ended up shooting him, which probably was unnecessary use of force, but that's still a much grayer area than the one in Chicago, where the guy apparently was walking away from the police officer and shot 16 times. But anyway, the family of this guy were basically just telling the Black Lives Matter people to stop protesting in front of the police precinct because they were concerned. They had an imminent concern.
Imminent. They were about to be concerned.
Yes, and for you people who don't understand why this grabs me the wrong way, is imminent means about to happen. So you have a concern that's about to happen. It's like an imminent threat. What does that mean? We're about to have a threat.
Which we hear that all the time lately.
Yeah, you hear imminent distress, imminent concern. Imminent. Yeah, what they mean, they're using imminent to mean like ever present or immediate. Is what what they say is like we have an immediate concern. We have an immediate threat. They're saying imminent, about to happen, which I personally don't think applies. You can't have something like a threat about to happen. You have an event about to happen, like if you an imminent bombing, right? An imminent attack. You know.
What if I say, "I'm warning you. If you do that one more time, I'm going to threaten you."
Right.
Is that an imminent threat?
It's an imminent threat. Assuming that I would do it one more time, but I probably wouldn't because I would be terrified of the imminent threat.
Yes, because you were threatened with a threat.
Because just the term imminent threat sounds scary.
Yes.
Even though, again, to me, it's like, what does that even mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
Right. There's a threat about to happen.
Danger,
about to be threatened.
Right. The danger is imminent.
Right.
The threat is there. That's why the danger is imminent.
Exactly.
Because we already have the threat.
And what is imminent concern? I might be concerned about you in the near future.
Hold on. I'm about to be concerned.
Exactly. I have an imminent concern.
Maybe if you're a psychologist, come lay on my couch. I have imminent concern.
Yeah, it reminds me of... What does this remind me of?
Depending on what you're about to say to me...
Was it The Fifth Element?
I may have concern.
Yeah, it was The Fifth Element where they're getting ready to blow up the thing that they can't blow up. It gets bigger every time they fire the rockets at it. And the guy says, I have a doubt. And the other guy goes, I don't. Like, fire away. And it's like, wait a minute. I have an imminent concern.
But it's not an imminent concern. It's a present concern.
Right.
It's a concern that exists now, not about to exist.
I might have a concern someday.
That's right. Well, might have a concern someday wouldn't necessarily be imminent.
Not necessarily be imminent, you're right.
Imminent is almost there.
Yeah.
Imminent would be more like impact. Like a meteor is hurtling toward the Earth.
Yes, it implies that we have some knowledge.
That it's coming, but it's not here yet.
Right.
So we know that the threat is coming.
Right.
But the threat is not here yet.
And we can even tell you when it's going to get here. Because it's imminent.
Right.
Not the threat. The threat's not imminent. The threat's there.
I'm just saying when they say imminent threat, they know a threat's coming. Right around the corner. It's just not here yet.
See, I have imminent knowledge.
Maybe if that's intimate.
No, imminent.
Imminent knowledge?
Yeah.
You're about to know something?
Exactly.
Before you Google it, wait, I have imminent knowledge. My knowledge is imminent.
Because it's imminent. I wouldn't know what it is. I just know it's about.
You're about to know something.
I've felt that way most of my life. I felt like I'm going to know something sometime in the near future.
Something that you didn't know before.
No, just something in general. It just never seems to happen. It's always imminent. It's always like just right around the corner, and I'm just left with this.
Then you have imminent depression when you figure out that.
No, I think the depression is immediate. It's current.
Immediate depression.
Yeah.
Intimate depression.
I am intimate with depression. Yes. That's why I'm switching podcasts to the Sex Nerd Sandra.
Sex Nerd Sandra, yeah. I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to her, which, by the way, I'm telling you...
You mean you're leaving this podcast?
I don't have time for that many podcasts, especially not if I'm hanging out with Sex Nerd Sandra.
Can't you be Bi-Castle?
Bi-Castle, yeah, there's a good idea.
Bi-Castle.
But I want you guys to know, like, I'm recommending the Sex Nerd Sandra podcast, but only if you have time to listen to this podcast in addition to Sex Nerd Sandra. Because if you're going to leave us for the Sex Nerd Sandra podcast, well, I wouldn't blame you.
Oh, but you're allowed to leave us. What kind of crap is that?
Well, that's different, though, because I would actually be joining the Sex Nerd Sandra. It wouldn't just be listening.
So what? If you can leave us for her, so can our listeners.
But it could be.
Yeah, but we can't all join Sex Nerd Sandra.
Maybe we can just have her on our podcast.
Life is hard.
And then we'd bring a whole new meaning to life is hard.
Right.
Hard.
Hey, watch us on YouTube. Subscribe. Like
comments at Life is Hard podcast.
Give us a thumbs up. And leave comments and send us
Let us know you're out there. Do you exist in the dark matter of space?
Life is hard. But it could be worse.